Good afternoon then, and welcome back to the Ricardo Tormo circuit in Valencia. You join us for the final 3 hours of 2023, or flip the other way around, the final few hours at the start of 2024 as Raul Fernandes during the lunch break on the Aprilia racing machine has gone fastest. He leads now with a 1:29.808 and Aprilia 1-2 currently here as we resume our live coverage of this all-important Valencia test. He was negotiating tough, but we're told that there was a pretty expensive, a pretty high price to pay to get Aldeguer released from the second year of his Bosca contract next year. Maybe as much as €500,000. We'll come back to that as we look at Raul Fernandes, or Raul Fernandes behind Marc Marquez is on another really good lap here by over 0.2 of a second. This may well be the fastest time of the day so far, coming in shortly. But yeah, Fernandes, there's going to be Tony Arbolino who's going to be looking to move up to 2025. Britain's Jake Dixon will certainly be hoping for a strong season tyre with the throttle. And when rookies start MotoGP careers, they go with like the sort of softest power maps, a whole bunch of traction control. But that shot through turn 13, aside from the Marquez smile, is the shot of the day on day one. Great to see a whole bunch of fans, as we mentioned, enjoying this Valencia test. They'll be pretty happy now. There's a bit of sunshine. What a fresh start here this morning in Valencia. Just looks so self-assured, doesn't he? So self-confident. Yeah. You know, some people might say that occasionally it stretches over the line and becomes a little bit of arrogance, but I've got to say I love it. It's not cocky if you back it up. Love it. So absolutely love it. Yeah, I always say that. As Kid Rock once said in a song, it's not cocky if you back it up, and Pedro Acosta always backs it up. Yeah. In 55 Grand Prix, he's been on the podium in essentially half of them. 27 podiums from 55 starts across all classes, 15 wins, including 10 in Moto2, 7 of which came this season. Whatever Pedro Acosta says and does off the track, he then goes out on track and lives up to the billing, doesn't he? And you cannot argue with that. And yeah, as you say, so many young riders go up to MotoGP and they're in their shells a little bit. They're perhaps walking on eggshells. They don't want to upset the apple cart. Not a bit of that with Pedro Acosta. It's just something like he's sat there like a peacock, isn't it? Like, you know, bring it on. Come on, let's have this in 2024. Always great to see a young talent, a precocious talent like Pedro Acosta clearly is. I mean, he's being talked about. What a phenomenal job he's done behind the scenes. Yeah, he's been part of that Ducati fold for the best part of a decade and signed a new 3-year contract, didn't he, earlier on this season too? With Pirro at Ducati, so he's not going to be going anywhere for quite some time. Although, as we were discussing this morning, if you weren't with us, with the introduction of the new concessions plan and the new concessions tiers, of which there are 4 next season, one thing Michele Pirro will not be doing anything of next year is wildcards. Yeah, and unfortunately, that will mean he won't get the chance to lead a Grand Prix, just as he did this year, of course, in that flag-to-flag scenario in the Japanese Grand Prix Motegi, where he rolled the dice, took a punt, and stayed out. And amazingly, of all the riders, 17 riders this year did lead laps. Through all the different parts, and they brought plenty of them to those first 2 pre-season tests, just getting all the information and all the feedback they could, and then putting the best package together for the first weekend of the season in Portimao. And Jack Miller went and set a new all-time lap record, didn't he? And at the first day of practice in Portimao at the start of the season, and we thought, where did that come from? He then led the Tissot sprint, and Brad Binder then won the second Tissot sprint from 15th on the grid in Argentina. So KTM clearly knew what they were doing, and they'll certainly have a big plan up ahead of them to try and close the gap to Ducati in 2024. KTM finished this season a relatively comfortable second in the Constructors' Championship ahead of Aprilia, but not a particularly close second behind Ducati. So KTM know that they've got a lot of ground to make up going into next season to try and ultimately become what they want to be, which is the ultimate champions in MotoGP. Yeah, pre-season, particularly in Malaysia, and throughout the winter testing campaign, Binder said he couldn't recall a single exit throughout the winter testing program where he went out on the same motorcycle. It was very much an experimental pre-season for the factory KTM team. As we look at Marc Marquez out on circuit for his latest stint out on track. and a little bit earlier than expected, so I'm delighted to say joining us in the commentary box, where I can't wait to ask him the first question about Pedro Acosta's first impressions on the Gas Tech 3 RC16 machine. I'm delighted to welcome into the commentary box Tech 3 team manager Nico Goyan. First of all, Nico, welcome. How are you? Okay.
Hello, how are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you very much. Always good to see you. Obvious first question. We saw inside your garage this morning when Pedro went out for what's always a special moment in a rider's career. Your first few laps, your first taste of MotoGP, something a rider dreams of pretty much throughout their entire career. When he came back in, he looked like it was Christmas Day. He looked like he could walk on water. You were right in the heart of it. How was it? How buzzing was he?
Yeah, no, it's clear that there's a lot of expectation. This is normal, and the only rookie this year, next season, plus he's a world champion, and then as there's a lot of expectation on his name. Yeah, he expected this moment, to be fair, since the first talk I had with him. From the beginning, his target was clear. He really wanted to stay focused on the championship. That's what he's done in Malaysia. Then from this moment, it was clear that his mind was set on this affected a little bit his performance in Qatar and in Valencia, but it was clear that from this moment after Super, I started to talk about the MotoGP, went to the garage, tried the bike, set the position, and his mind was clearly turned to the MotoGP. So he was looking forward to come to the garage yesterday, spent the whole day in the garage, see how the work, meet the different people, and then finally looking forward to this first day testing. In the end, no, it was as expected. He enjoyed the first ride on the MotoGP bike. It's something special. He knew it, he discovered it, and it was super happy.
You've got a lot of experience. Tech 3 have a lot of experience in the past of working with rookies, working with new riders, so probably Pedro's in a very, very good place because you guys have been there so often in the past in this situation. What's the hardest thing for a rookie now to come into MotoGP and learn? Because the step from Moto2 to MotoGP is huge. The tyres, the brakes, the power, all the different electronic setups. I mean, what do you think is going to be the toughest thing over these next few months for him to learn?
It's clear that nowadays bike is quite tough to ride. Always keep in mind Marc Marquez jumped on the bike here in Valencia. He was setting already some red helmets. That was unbelievable, and we all expect a rookie to be fast, but now you have to understand that riding MotoGP is super complicated. Pedro was struggling, for example, Pedro was struggling this morning with the right height device. So just the moment you need to push the button to activate the right height device, and how to use the automatic one, which the button for the engine brake. So not just to ride bike now is super complicated, especially when you have to pass. For me, my personal point of view, I think you need a full leader. You get this proper, you get the behavior, the motivation, bike behavior, for how to ride a bike. And the tire is another thing to learn. But anyway, it's long and complicated, so for sure it's not going to be one day that is going to be comfortable on the bike.
Yeah, how do you manage expectations for Pedro next season? Of course, being the character that he is, the competitor that he is, of course he wants big things and he wants them as quickly as possible. How do you manage the expectations in terms of what kind of results are acceptable and what kind of goals and sort of milestones that he needs to achieve through the season?
Well, at the moment we haven't set any target, but it's clear that as you know, we have the same bike as the KTM bikes, so let's say we're going to have 4 riders But